The Detroit Lions are set to face the Baltimore Ravens in Week 3 tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. And the Lions have not announced any roster moves yet. Those typically do not happen until about 2 hours before the game tomorrow, along with the inactives to get down to the 48-man game day roster. So there will be no elevation roster moves in today's video. We'll go obviously over the roster moves from this past week that have happened, and we'll go over the injury report. And then we'll go over the game plan, everything, how to win this. But we'll go ahead and start off with the injury report like we always do. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. And the Detroit Lions injury report is very good for the most part. They only have 1 player out and 4 players questionable. Marcus Davenport was dealing with a chest injury that he suffered last week versus the Chicago Bears. He has been ruled out. No shocker there. I'm surprised it's not saying out for season. Jack Campbell, ankle, questionable. He did not practice, I believe it was Wednesday, I want to say, and then did practice Thursday and Friday on a limited basis. Actually, I think he played full practice, actually. I think he was full Thursday and then limited Friday. So, probably going to play. I'd be shocked if he's out. Taylor Decker, shoulder/rest. He did not practice Wednesday, and then he returned to practice on a limited basis Thursday, and then he did not practice Friday. He's questionable. The fact that it says rest, I'm assuming he just got Friday off is what I'm assuming, so I think he should be good to go. If it's not, it's going to be a little bit of a problem, but he should be good to go. Kirby Joseph, knee questionable. He practiced all week on a limited basis. I'd be shocked if he didn't play. And DJ Reed, knee questionable. He also practiced all week. I believe Wednesday he practiced full, and then Thursday he re-aggravated his injury from last week. I don't really know. Popped up on the injury report, limited basis, and then limited Friday. So I'd also be shocked if he didn't play. So all these guys that are questionable, if all these guys were to be out, this would be the worst injury report of all time. I mean, you got your second defensive end, your starting defensive end opposite Aiden Hutchinson, out. Jack Campbell would be out, your number 1, number 2 linebacker. Taylor Decker, your other starting tackle, out. Kirby Joseph, arguably your best safety, out. And then DJ Reed, your best cornerback, would be out. So if that was to ever be the case, and all of those 4 other guys, for whatever reason, were ruled out, would be the worst thing ever. But overall, injury report is not bad. Marcus Davenport, nothing shocking there. He did not play all week or practice all week. Dan Campbell said they were going to get the final test and all that, final assumptions of what his injury is on today, the recording of this video, or yesterday when he got in front of the media. He said we would either find out later today, which was yesterday, or today, so on Sunday. So Marcus Davenport, they probably know the severity of the injury. We just don't yet. Dan Campbell said he does not believe it's season-ending. I don't 100% buy that. I think anything Marcus Davenport suffers is a season-ending, so I'm not, taking that with any grain of salt. So, Marcus Davenport out, nothing shocking there. Everything else, very good. Now let's go over the roster moves from this past week. Not a lot of stuff to talk about in today's video. Lions did announce quite a bit of roster moves during the week, and that they have announced that they have released linebacker Monty Rice from the practice squad. Kind of feel bad for the guy. He was elevated, just signed last week, and then he was elevated for the Bears game, and he had a crucial special teams penalty early in the game, which I think ended up leading to his release. So I honestly feel really bad for Monty Rice. I think it was unnecessary roughness or unsportsmanlike conduct. It was one of the two. I think it was unnecessary roughness is what it was. But I kind of feel bad for the guy. I mean, former 3rd-round pick by Tennessee, has really not done much in his career when it comes on the defensive side of the ball, primarily been a special teamer. I mean, it wasn't really too shocking. I kind of saw that coming potentially after that penalty. You just can't do that in the NFL. I mean, the margin for error is so low. So, Monty Rice's time as a Detroit Lion after 1 week has come to an end. The Lions have also placed tight end Shane Zylstra on injured reserve. He is out for the next 4 weeks. So, special teams takes a hit there. The Lions do like using 3 tight ends in their offense on rundowns, but when it comes to pass downs, they never use Shane Zylstra, and he is a pass-catching tight end, not a run blocking. So he's gotten better in the blocking game, Shane Zylstra, but he's still got a lot to improve. He's definitely more of a receiving tight end. So Shane Zylstra out for the next 4 games. He was immediately ruled out against the Bears when he suffered the injury. Was on a special teams play. So I don't know if it's season ending or anything like that. We probably won't know until 4 more weeks from now, or whenever Dan Campbell talks about Shane Zylstra's injury. But the Lions did sign a tight end as well that we'll talk about here in a little bit to replace him potentially. And the Lions, before we get to that, they have also signed center/guard Tristan Colon to the active roster from the practice squad. So his injury that he suffered, I believe it was in week 2 against the Atlanta Falcons. Looks like he is now fully recovered from that. When he got hurt at the time, Dan Campbell said it was going to be a while before he was able to return. He got released, made the practice squad. They brought him back on the practice squad, and now it seems like he's fully healthy, and now they have signed him to the 53-man from the practice squad. So that gives the Lions a much-needed depth addition on the offensive line when it comes to the 53-man roster. Their depth was really lacking. You only have on the 53-man roster one tackle and Giovanni Manu, and that's still an issue. But the interior offensive line is now a lot better. Now you got KO, you got Colon and Kingsley on the 53. So the offensive line, when it comes to the backups, are looking much better. And the Lions should be getting Miles Frazier back here sooner rather than later as well, potentially against Cincinnati in week 5, as Miles Frazier was spotted at practice working with trainers on the side, and he should be able to practice, I think, next week or 2 weeks from now. I think it's 2 weeks from now, but he could be as soon to play as week 5. So the Lions will also get a much-needed addition there, as Miles Frazier can play both guard and tackle. Probably play guard for us, but he can switch out the tackle if needed. So Lions getting much-needed add on that backup offensive line. And they have signed wide receiver/quarterback Malik Cunningham and tight end Ross Dwelley. So we'll go ahead and start with Ross Dwelley. Ross Dwelley looks like to be the Shane Zylstra replacement. Ross Dwelley has been in the NFL for a long time. I believe this is around his 8th season now in the NFL. Did not play a whole lot last year. Has been bouncing off rosters now for the past couple of years. Now with Atlanta last year and with the Lions now this year. And Ross Dwelley, his numbers for a backup tight end are not bad at all. They're very similar for the most part throughout his career to Brock Wright's numbers. And Brock Wright's a great backup tight end. I think he's one of the better ones in the league. I mean, his production might not say that, but when you watch the film, I think Brock Wright has some of the best backup tight end film in the league. Ross Dwelley now, he's 6'5", 235, so decent size there, from San Diego. He's 30 years old. He'll be turning 31 at the end of the season. Was a former UDFA back in 2018, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is his 8th season now upcoming in the NFL. 11 games his rookie season, 2 receptions, 14 yards. Second year, 16 games, 15 receptions, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 2020 had his best career season, played every game. 19 receptions, 245 yards, and a touchdown. 2021, played every game, 4 receptions, 51 yards, and a touchdown. 2022, missed 5 games, 3 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. And now these past couple years, his production's been down, as he had 12 games played, missed 5 in 2023, only had 1 reception for 12 yards. And then he signed with Atlanta in 2024, where he did play every game and had 1 reception for 5 yards. So this guy looks to be a third-string tight end. I mean, early in his career, within his first 3 years, specifically his second and third year, maybe he was their backup tight end in San Francisco. I can't really tell you if he was or not, but it looks like now he's primarily been a tight end 3 now for the past couple of seasons in his NFL career. Now, he went to the practice squad. He is the only, well, that is a lie. The Lions also have Zach Horton, UDFA tight end / fullback, on their practice squad as well from Indiana. So I'm assuming Ross Dwelley and Zach Horton will get some elevations here within the next coming weeks. If I had to guess, if the Lions are going to elevate one of those 2 tight ends this week against Baltimore, it's going to be Zach Horton, just because he's been with the team a little bit longer, and the Lions really like Zach Horton as a blocker. I don't like Zach Horton. I'm not going to lie. I did not like his film at all in the preseason. I did not. His blocking was fine, but he had a lot of penalties in there. I think he had at least 3 or 4 penalties in the preseason. And also his receiving game, he's not a tight end to me. He's a fullback, but he's also listed as a tight end for the Lions. More of a tight end than a fullback, I think, on the Lions depth chart. So if I had to guess, Zach Horton will be elevation out of the two this week. If they do decide to elevate one, I would not be shocked if they don't elevate either of them. But if I had to guess, Zach Horton would be the elevation. But it could be Ross Dwelley. I mean, I would rather it be Ross Dwelley. But if I had to guess, it would be Zach Horton. Now let's take a look at Malik Cunningham. Malik Cunningham, when the Lions signed him, I knew immediately who this guy was. And the reason why I knew that is because I knew he was from Baltimore, but also he's a running quarterback. And I really didn't peep this when we signed him, but once I started looking at people's reaction to the Lions signing this guy, they're like, the Lions really signed Malik Cunningham to prepare for Lamar Jackson. And that is 100% true, in my opinion. That's what the signing's going to be. I would not be shocked if Malik Cunningham is not on this roster on Tuesday or Wednesday. I would not be shocked. Now, we'll go and take a look at his stats, obviously. Malik Cunningham, he's an undersized quarterback, 6'1", 190, 26 years old, will be turning 27 in a couple of weeks. From Louisville, he played one game in 2023 with New England, was not on a roster last year. Take a look at his college stats here from Louisville. His first season, the passing numbers are fine. 1 touchdown and a pick his first year. Second year, 22 touchdowns, 5 picks. Third year, 20 touchdowns, 12. Senior year, 19 and 6. And he played an extra year of college where he had 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So 70 touchdowns, 29 interceptions in his college career. Completion percentage was not good, 62.6, and he had almost 10,000 passing yards in his 5-year college career at Louisville. But when you get to the run game, this is why this is very interesting, as this is the best running numbers from a quarterback the Lions have had when it comes to college. Since I can't tell you when, maybe since Josh Johnson when he had him back on the roster in 2019 or 2020 as a practice squad or third string quarterback. I can't remember if it was on the practice squad or third string, but probably since the Lions had Josh Johnson. In 2018, his first year, 79 carries, 497 yards, 6.3 a carry, 5 touchdowns, 482 yards, 4 yards a carry, and 6 touchdowns. Sophomore year, 609 yards, 4.6, and 7 touchdowns. Junior year. His senior year, I mean, you would think this guy's a running back. 1,031 yards, 20 rushing touchdowns. And he played next year of college, like I said, 567 rushing yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. So in his 5-year college career, he had 50 rushing touchdowns, 3,100 rushing yards, almost 3,200, and 5.1 yards per carry. And the guy also had 2 receptions in college as well. So this guy can play all over the field. He can play all over the field. Now, the Lions listed him as a wide receiver when they signed him, not a quarterback. And Dan Campbell said they do view Malik Cunningham more as a wide receiver, not a quarterback. But this is very interesting to me. Very interesting. Because the Lions now have 4 quarterbacks on the roster, including practice squad, with Goff, Kyle Allen, C.J. Beathard, and now Malik Cunningham. Now, again, the Lions view Malik Cunningham more as a wide receiver. So now the Lions, let me see here. They got Tom Kennedy, they got Jackson Meeks, and they got Ronnie Bell on the practice squad. So now, if you count Malik Cunningham as a quarterback and wide receiver, then I'll have 4 wide receivers / 4 quarterbacks on the practice squad. They have 2 quarterbacks on the practice squad essentially, and 4 wide receivers on the practice squad now. So very interesting for the Lions. Now, again, I would not be shocked if this guy's not on the roster in a couple of days, but let's go over the game plan now for this. And I actually do really like this signing when it comes to the strategic here, because the Lions' main issue, so you see it in the thumbnail, is stopping the quarterback from running and taking off. That has been our main problem when facing any scrambling quarterback since the Dan Campbell era, since I've really been watching football under the Caldwell era, under the Patricia era, and under the Dan Campbell era. We have never been able to stop the run game like that. Those are the 3 head coaches I've seen the Lions have since I've been a Lions fan for now. I believe this is my 9th or 10th season. I started watching in 2015/2016. Really started getting into it in 2016. But I watched a little bit in 2015. So this is going on essentially my 9th/10th season of watching the Lions and being into it like that. So the Lions have never been able to stop the quarterback from taking off ever. And Lamar Jackson is the best in the NFL, and in my opinion, the greatest of all time. I understand you got Michael Vick. I understand you got Randall Cunningham. I understand you got all of them guys. But Michael Vick doesn't even come close. And he's the second best. He didn't even come close, in my opinion, to Lamar Jackson when it comes to the run game. So this game is going to be about stopping Lamar when it comes to him in the run game. I'm not worried. I am not worried about this game at all when it comes to stopping Derrick Henry and when it comes to stopping Lamar Jackson in the pass game, along with Zay Flowers, 35-year-old DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, Tylan Wallace, what's their UDFA rookie receiver? Devontae Walker. I don't think he's UDFA. I think it was like a 6th-round pick. But I'm not worried about any of that. I'm not worried about their defense. By the way, the Baltimore Ravens have 4 key players ruled out this game. Their fullback, Patrick Ricard, who's arguably the best in the league behind Kyle Juszczyk. Isaiah Likely, who is the best backup tight end in football, should be a starter in this league, and he'd be one of the better ones in the league as a starter. Justin/Ndame Madubuike, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, already has, I think, 10 pressures on the season, I read, and 2 sacks. He's been balling out to start this year. And Kyle Van Noy, who's the former Lion first-round pick, who's really resurrected his career with the Baltimore Ravens, was a fine player with us. But when he went to Baltimore, he's just taken off. He's lived up to now that first-round pick, potentially, how he's played with Baltimore. In his past 2 seasons with Baltimore, I think he had 9.5 sacks 2 years ago, and I think he had 10 or 10.5 last year. Actually, I think he had 11.5 last year. So, with those 4 key players being ruled out, I'm not worried about anything, really at all. I'm not going to say I'm ignoring Lamar Jackson in the pass game and ignoring the wide receivers, and I'm ignoring Derrick Henry. By no means am I doing that. But in my opinion, if we can just somewhat contain Lamar Jackson when it comes to the running game, we're going to win this game. But the problem is, I don't think we can do that. So that is why, unfortunately, I do not think we get the win. And with Marcus Davenport being out, that does not help. But I will say on the positive side, I do value Al-Quadin Muhammad just as much as Marcus Davenport for this game. And that's not me just saying Al-Quadin Muhammad is just as good, if not a better player than Marcus Davenport. That's not at all what I'm saying when they're on the field. That is not at all what I'm saying. But when it comes to how to stop Lamar, Davenport is a power defensive end. He's not Aiden Hutchinson or Muhammad, who's going to immediately get off the line of scrimmage and immediately either get pressure on the quarterback or immediately get stopped. You can eliminate Hutchinson, but Muhammad, he's going to get very quick off the line of scrimmage. He's immediately going to get into the offensive tackle. He's either immediately going to get a pressure or he's not. Davenport, typically, he's going to get a better pressure rate, but it's going to take him longer to get the pressure and get a move of some sort, to get a pressure, to get a sack, quarterback hit, anything like that. Muhammad, typically, he's going to get stopped more. Now, this year, it's obviously different. He's 6th in the NFL in pass rush win rate with, I believe, it's 28%. But typically, Marcus Davenport is a guy who's going to get more pressures on a consistent basis than Muhammad. But Muhammad, he's going to be the guy who can get there quicker, and that's what we're going to need, in my opinion, to stop Lamar Jackson. Plus, Muhammad is just overall a quicker player than Marcus Davenport. So when we're going to have to multiple times this game to stop Lamar in the running game and track Lamar down, Muhammad is a better player doing that, in my opinion, than Marcus Davenport. So I value Al-Quadin Muhammad just as much as Marcus Davenport in this game. So this, with Marcus Davenport being out, that's the equivalent, in my opinion, of Muhammad being out. So not a big deal there. The Lions injury report, probably the best we've seen yet this season. Nowatzki and Vaki are returning. They will play this week. Very curious what the Lions' 48-man game day roster is going to look like, with the Lions only having most likely 1 player out for sure. With Marcus Davenport, they're now at 52, and they're for sure going to elevate probably 1 player, and it will be probably one of those 2 tight ends, in Zach Horton or Ross Dwelley. I would not be shocked either if they elevated Malik Cunningham. I'd be pretty surprised, but I would not be insanely shocked if they did do that. But those would probably be the 2 guys. Actually, the Lions will elevate somebody. I think they're going to elevate Andre Carter. I don't know how I forgot that. Dan Campbell said in his press conference, somebody asked him about, could we see Tyrus Wheat and Tyra Lacey playing this week with Davenport being out? Dan Campbell really did not give an answer to them if any of those guys will be playing this week. So I think Andre Carter is going to get his first elevation and play his first game with the Detroit Lions this week, which I also really like. He's a power/finesse defensive end. He's about 50-50 right down the middle. So I really like Andre Carter. I think he gets his first game with the Detroit Lions this week. So I expect him to get elevated, and I think one of the tight ends or Malik Cunningham will be elevated. So in that case, we'll just say 2 players get elevated, and with Davenport being out, your roster is going to be at 54. All right, so you have to have 6 healthy scratches this game. So who do I think those 6 healthy scratches is? I have no clue. I'm assuming one of the offensive linemen will be a healthy scratch. If I had to guess, Kingsley would probably be the healthy scratch in the offensive line. And then probably, I don't really know. Both the safeties will probably be inactive. Or excuse me, one safety will be inactive, and Thomas Harper. So that would put it at 2. And then Chris Smith, Tyler Lacey, Tyrus Wheat would be inactive. So that's 5. And I don't know from there. I guess probably Jacob Saywers would be the other one. So the Lions have some tough decisions this week to make. If assuming they elevate 2 players, they have some tough decisions to make this week when it comes to the healthy scratches to get down the 48-man game day roster. So leave your thoughts and comments down below. Who do you think that's going to be? But my opinion, I said it last week. I've been saying it for the past 2 weeks. I just don't think we can contain Lamar. I got us losing this game. I don't give score predictions, but I got us losing this game. So one probably go Lions. But again, I'm not worried about this game at all if we can contain Lamar. I just don't think we can. So hopefully the Lions can prove me wrong. One pride go Lions. The Packers got upset today by the Cleveland Browns. Don't rule off the Browns either. We face them next week in Week 4. We do face them at Ford Field. The Packers face them at, I forget the Browns stadium, but they did face them at the Browns. So, but do not overlook the Browns. Packers are no longer defeated. Now the Packers still have the tiebreaker since they beat us if we were to win tomorrow in the division. But the Vikings absolutely killed the Cincinnati Bengals today, 48-10. Carson Wentz looked like Patrick Mahomes today. That's an exaggeration, but he did look very good. I would not be surprised if they ended up rolling with him if he keeps playing like this over J.J. McCarthy, who's doing with an ankle injury. He was out this week. I would not be surprised if they end up rolling with him for the future if Carson Wentz continues to play like this for the next couple weeks while McCarthy's out. And the Bears, I believe, are currently winning against Dallas. So one probably go Lions. Tomorrow is not a must-win by any means, but is a huge game when it comes to the division and when it comes to just us as a team looking forward with elite teams like the Baltimore Ravens and like the Eagles and stuff like that with the Rams. So one probably go Lions. Huge game tomorrow. Guys losing, but the key to winning the game is contain Lamar Jackson. That is the key. One probably go Lions.